What is going on, everyone? Fortnite Zero War issue 1 is finally here, and there's a lot of things that they went over in the comic that we didn't really get to see during season 2, including things about the Ice Moon, what Paradigm's been doing, and also what the 7 has planned going forward. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, so before we get into this, I just need to clarify that this comic, issue number 1, does take place during season 2 of chapter 3, okay? The comic starts out pretty much with Spider-Man, the Imagined, and Jones walking into a bar, okay? This bar is where they find Wolverine. They're looking for Wolverine, and they're trying to convince him to come with them and help them out so that way they can save pretty much all of reality, right? So Spider-Man goes into talking to Wolverine, trying to explain the entire situation of what is going on back home in our universe, you know, where the loopers are. So he's telling them, like, the IO, they're planning on wiping out the entire island, starting completely new. They realize that the loopers have gotten too powerful, and they figured out a lot of stuff, and they just need a complete reset, right? And as the 7 and, you know, the loopers are trying to figure out what they're going to do to stop the IO, the Visitor brings up the Mecha and Caddis fight, okay? The Visitor's like, we can use this mech to defeat the IO, but the only thing is we don't really know exactly where the mech is after the fight with the Caddis monster. We know that it flew up into, you know, into space somewhere after Paradigm left. And this is where the Origin chimes in a little bit, and he's like, hey, you know, I'm really good at running all these tests and everything, and I figured out the exact flight path that the mecha took after its fight with the Caddis monster. And the Origin goes to mention that the mecha flew to the Ice Moon and crash landed on the Ice Moon, and he pretty much goes on to say that the Ice Moon is filled with hostile, you know, environments, whether that's creatures. It's super cold there because the entire planet moon thing is, you know, made of ice pretty much. There's extremely cold hurricanes that form and suck in anything that flies too close to it. And I mean, there's just a ton of monsters that could possibly kill you if you're there, if you don't die from the extreme weather conditions first. He says that the weather on the Ice Moon is so cold that it will break their suits if they try to, you know, get out of whatever ship they're in and try to walk on the Ice Moon. With that all said, the group and Origin all kind of just take into assumption that Paradigm is pretty much dead and that the mech is going to be completely ruined because there's no one up there to really like repair it over all this time that we've had. So they really don't know what to think. They love the idea of using the mech to fight against the IO. They think that's a wonderful idea, but they don't know how they're going to get there, how they're going to survive the extreme weather conditions, and how they're going to repair the mech once it's all said and done. So with all that out in the open, Spider-Man mentions that he knows people in his universe that can control the weather, like Thor and Storm, for instance. He says that he can go back to his reality, recruit these people, which they've already been, you know, in the Loopers universe before, so I'm sure they're willing to come by and, you know, help us out, since their whole thing is helping out reality as they know it and trying to save the universe, where right now the IO is threatening literally all of existence, because if they destroy the 0 point, which is the very beginning of time, it will destroy countless universes, right? Well, the Origin goes on and mentions that Galactus took a fragment of the 0 point when we ended up, you know, beating him and sending him back, you know, into his reality. He says the shard should be able to be used to recharge the mech, since the mech did grab the 0 point at the end of the Caddis monster fight, right? To kind of recharge itself to be able to get off the island in time. He mentions that this shard should be able to repair and recharge the mech within moments versus it taking, you know, weeks or longer to try to repair and recharge the mech. So with this plan set in motion, Jones leads the search party through the IO underground base towards the 0 point. So that way they can use the 0 point to travel into the Spider-Man's dimension to gather up all the heroes to help out. However, on this journey to the 0 point, they have to pass through Jones's old office to be able to get to the location of the 0 point, the ultimate portal. And in here, Jones finds a picture lying on the ground of what was his old office. Now, we don't get to see what the picture is, but we do see him removing it from the frame and keeping it, right? Now, this is very interesting, and I guaranteed you that this will be brought up at some point later on, either in the comic or, even in the entire lore of Fortnite overall. Whatever picture it is that he took and pocketed is very important. And I could have sworn I've seen a picture on his desk at some point, but for the life of me, I cannot find it anywhere. So if y'all know about it, leave a link down in the comment section below, because I would love to dig deeper into this portion of it, right? But I can't. I've looked in the device event where we travel into Jones's office. There's no picture on his desk there. I've looked through all of the 0 point comics that have come out previously, including the Foundation one, and there's no sign of it, right? But I know I'm not crazy. It's out there somewhere. I've seen a desk photo from Jones's office somewhere. I just can't find it. So help me out, guys. Now, with all that said, they end up reaching the 0 point, and they're trying to program it to go to Spider-Man's reality when they are interrupted by the one and only Dr. Sloan and Gunner. You could have guessed that, right? So at this point, they burst in. Jones tells the Foundation that Gunner is Gino, right? And the Foundation's like, no, Jones, that's not Gino, because I bashed his skull in when I had to save you at the end of the chapter 2 event. And he's like, don't you remember that? And Jones kind of confused because, he was being all mind wiped, whatever, by Dr. Sloan at the end of the event, as we all remember. And Sloan chimes in with, you fool, how could you think that, the big boss would ever have time for someone like you, pretty much just like dogging on Jones the entire time, pretty much saying he ain't worth nothing, that, he was just a mere peon in the whole run of things when it comes to the IO, that he's never met Gino, and the big boss that he always was talking to during their meetings wasn't really the big boss at all, and it was Gunner, right? Or Gunner, however you want to pronounce it. So as they are fighting, they make enough time in between the fight for Spider-Man, Imagined, and Jones to escape through the 0 points without Dr. Sloan being able to follow them, right? He was able to put in the coordinates and then hit the reset as they, jumped into the 0 point, causing them to not have any information on where exactly they're going. Now, Dr. Sloan knows that they're up to something, right? But she's like, that's fine, because whatever they're up to is going to take time, and little do they know they are, they almost have no time left. So let them do whatever they're going to do. So Spidey and the gang end up showing up in the Marvel universe, and the Imagine has a run-in with Captain Marvel. And they're kind of beefing back and forth because Captain Marvel apparently thought that she had knocked Spidey unconscious, which wasn't the case. Spidey was just sick from jumping through the rift, which is understandable. So Spidey gets up and clears up everything. Is like, no, everything's fine. We're all on the same side here. Like, let's stop all the fighting. But I really need a big thing from you, Captain Marvel. If you could call up the Avengers. We need literally every hero that we can get. We need to have a meeting now, because literally every universe is at stake here. So they end up calling a meeting with all the Avengers, right? Iron Man, Storm, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, all the guys from the Marvel universe. They're all there. And Iron Man ends up getting a list together of people to go into the Loopers reality, our reality, because not everybody can go. Because who's going to stay behind and, help keep their universe safe while they are off fighting to save countless realities and universes. So that's all said and done. They've got the group together, but Spider-Man and the gang still have one mission left before they are able to return safely and get this plan underway. And that is locating the shard that Galactus took when he left their reality, whatever, from the 0 point, right? Well, the Imagine ends up finding it, but the location is going to be somewhere in a 100-mile radius, right? She can't pinpoint the exact location because of some kind of energy that is, blocking the exact location. And this is where and why they need to find Wolverine, because they know Wolverine is an amazing tracker and that he'll be able to locate the shard of the 0 point. And now, once again, we're back at the very beginning of the comic where Spidey and the gang walks into the bar, find Wolverine, and they try to mention everything and try to make Wolverine come with them, because without Wolverine, they can't track down the shard of the 0 point, and without the shard of the 0 point, they can't revive the mech, which then they can't beat the IO if they don't have the mech. So pretty much all of humanity and reality and universes all depends on Wolverine at this point, right? And Wolverine's like, fine, I'll go. I feel like it's going to be a pretty good fight, so I'll tag along. I'll help you guys out. But the comic doesn't end there, okay? There's one more page of the comic, and that is a picture of Dr. Doom. And he's like, man, those meddling kids and their stupid dog, stupid Spider-Man. The Avengers, how dare they? They're messing around with stuff that they shouldn't be messing around with. We read a voice that's like, Dr. Doom, don't worry about that. Don't worry about them. Let me take it from here. Now, we don't know who that other person is at this point, okay? But then we have another panel, and it kind of slides over, and we find out that it is Geno, that is talking to Dr. Doom. And he tells Dr. Doom it is really difficult to try to pick someone to join the IO normally. But when I seen this universe, you were a very easy pick for me. So welcome to the Imagined Order. And that's where the comic ends. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell so that way you don't miss issue 2 and all the other great content that we have coming to the channel. But what do you guys think about Dr. Doom being part of the IO? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.